And we are live. What's up, fam? Coming at you again with another not weekly tip, but another live stream. So hold on, let me get my chat rolling real quick. I normally did a really good job at making sure everything was set up, and then I actually forgot to actually hit the go live button. So I was chilling around, waiting for a few minutes. So that's why I wasn't up, or at least the thumbnail wasn't showing. So let me set up where I can see the chat on my streaming software real quick. All right, sweet. Good to go. What's up, fam? So, I mean, it's only been a couple days, so not a ton has happened. It's almost the weekend, so it's good news for that. Have some fun plans. Got a date for tomorrow night. Grab some Kay's Kitchen. For those of you that know me, I loved Kay's Kitchen. I worked there for a long time. And my bishop I served under when I was a missionary in Japan. He owns that restaurant, so that'll be fun. And then Saturday, I don't know, Saturdays are for the boys, right? So gonna hang out with the boys. Probably go hit the gym. Maybe go some golfing and stuff, and talk money, talk business, talk the typical stuff. And also tomorrow, I might have an extra surprise for you guys as well. You may not even see it coming. I didn't even know it was going to come either. But anyway, besides the fact, tonight, like I said in my Instagram stories, that doing a live Q&A for those that want to participate shortly after the live. Here's right after my spiel that I'll go over today. So I will put the link only in my YouTube, and that will be in the chat. So I will put that, and you can join. And I've kind of sorted everything out. I know how everything works, so it should run smoothly this time. All right, so let's go ahead and hop into the topic of the night. Maybe if we're even lucky that we can finish on time or even a little bit earlier, so I can go to bed at a decent hour and not only get 4 or 5 hours of sleep. But we will see if that happens or not. Depends on everyone's participation. And I'm not going on Instagram Live. I shortly did. From now on, I'm probably going to do that just because I don't know. I actually got a decent amount of Instagram Live views on Tuesday, but I want more people to watch on YouTube. So spread the word, get people here on YouTube, and yeah, let's make it great. All right, tonight's topic: why I create content and why you should too. That is going to be the focus of tonight. Just because, I mean, I was just like many of y'all. I was just this normal dude who was just living life, going to school, having fun, working, making money, trying to make more money, uh, going to the gym and stuff. Like to hang out with the boys, go on dates with girls and stuff. I was just a normal average dude, and I still honestly am a normal average dude. But why I started creating content, plethora of reasons, but I want to set the tone, not only for why I create content, because there can be a plethora of different reasons. A lot of the main reasons most people do it on a kind of aggregate scale would be they want to become famous, or they want to make a lot of money in something, or they're very vain and they're very egotistical, they're very narcissistic, so they post stuff. And to be fair, there I might have a little bit of narcissistic trace in me, just because when you have an individual that's confident and that believes in themselves and wants to achieve big things, it is natural you are going to have some narcissistic, egotistical traits in you. So I'm not denying that, but that is not the main reason. So I'm going to share a clip, and I actually saw this video from one of my favorite creators, favorite guys ever, favorite businessmen, favorite family guys, favorite entrepreneurs is Patrick Bet David, PBD himself. And he had this clip on why he started creating content and why every single person, entrepreneur, normal, average person, why you should too. So let's go ahead and get to it. It's going to be about like, I'd say 3 to 4 minute clip. So bear with me.
If we can go to the first picture, this picture right here. To you, this picture means nothing. To me, This picture to the right is my dad, okay? To his left is his sister, my auntie. To her left is my grandfather. To his left is my Uncle Johnny. And to the far left is my grandmother Rose, okay? We call her Rosa, okay? I've never met the man in the middle, my grandpa. I met all the other four. I never met my grandpa. He was dead when I was born. Would have loved to have met him, never met him. This picture here is also my grandfather. The one on the left is my dad's side when they got married. That's my grandfather, whom I've never met. I got my height from that family because my mother's side, they're all 5 feet tall. Literally. On my dad's side, 6'4", 6'5", and a mailman was about 6'8". But for the most part, the height comes from my dad's side, right? To the right is my mom's dad, okay? And my grandma. That's my grandma, my grandpa.
And Patrick Bet-David in this section, he's basically explaining about his family. So I'm going to stop right here, add a little bit of commentary. That way it's not just like YouTube flags me for just showing someone else's video for my video. But he's setting kind of the tone. So he's talking a lot about his family. And I actually might skip over some of this as well, just because it's mainly him talking about his family. And granted, it's really good stuff, but he does go on for a decent amount. I mean, I probably would too if I were talking about my family. But let me skip ahead a little bit. But he's setting the preface. He's talking about his family. Okay, you're probably asking, Mike, PBD, like, what does this have to do with creating content? Like creating TikToks. And I don't actually create TikTok. I just put it on I think TikToks eventually get banned. But that's another story for another day. But why do I post these Instagram stories? Why do I post these Reels? Why do I post these lives? Why do I post on YouTube? Why do I post on Twitter, Threads, whatever platform it is? Why do I do all this crazy crap if this doesn't really make any sense? Which for a lot of people, why do it doesn't make sense to them. But I'll get to the reason why.
What would you pay for that? Scream out the dollar. To go back to the future of your grandparents, to get 100 hours. Simple question for you. How much money, be honest on the dollar amount, what would you give dollar-wise to get 100 hours of content of your grandparents and great-grandparents? What would you pay? If all of a sudden Elon Musk invents this new technology to go back to the future and have a drone follow your grandparents for 100 hours of footage to watch them, what would you pay for that? Scream out the dollar amount. Somebody said priceless. What's that word to you? What's that word to you? By the way, how many of you guys get emotional just thinking about it? See, that gets me emotional. That gets me emotional because I've never met that man. I'd love to sit there as a 43-year-old man who's got 4 kids right now, but when I watch him, I'll be a 5-year-old grandson watching my grandpa I never met before, getting emotional over 100 hours to say, that's where I get that from. Oh my God, that's me. That's where that comes from. That's sick. One day, your grandkids are gonna hope there's content of you. So for some of you that are sitting there saying, why am I waiting to create content? The argument is over. You're not doing it for you to become famous. You're not doing it to make more money. Create content because your grandkids are hoping you produce content so they can study you when you're no longer here with us. Does that make sense? So now.
Boom. That was big. Now, I think that's golden. That's so important just because it's like thinking of something outside of yourself, because it literally is true. Like, for example, like similar to Pat's story, I never met my grandparents on my father's side. So my dad, his parents, my grandpa, JD, he served in the military. He served in the Korean War. He fought in battles and stuff like that. And he had mental health problems. He had PTSD and stuff like that. He ended up self-deleting himself, unfortunately. And then, so his wife, who basically raised my dad, and at this point, when my grandpa was no longer around, my dad was like 12. So think of everything that my dad went through. And then my grandma, so my dad's mom, I think might have been alive briefly when I was born, but I don't remember anything. So it's kind of like I never really met her. I'm not even sure if I did meet her or not. So I would never spent any time with them. I know stories, I see pictures and stuff, and I see a few videos. But imagine if I had 100 extra hours of content with them or of them. That'd be priceless because then I get to see certain tendencies that my dad has, and then I got for myself. And luckily, I have a lot of that stuff with my mom's side. So my grandparents on my mom's side, her mom and dad, lots of videos. And luckily, my grandpa passed away unfortunately several years ago, but my grandma's still alive, losing a lot of her memory. But I, one, spent the time with them. Two, we have videos and footage and a bunch of different content of them while they're alive, telling stories. That my mom created this whole booklet of stories that grandpa, my grandpa had when he was living as a teenager, in his adult life, when he went on served a mission, because he served a mission as well for my church in Japan as well. That's actually how I met my grandma, and just really cool stories and how I kind of worked his whole life. He dropped out of school because he had to help support his family. I told this story before, but the classic story: immigrated to the U.S., him and his family, and they had nothing. Started off with nothing. They lived literally in like a dirt floor, like shack in Hawaii, and they worked in the plantations and then the sugarcane fields, and eventually became a mailman. He did a bunch of odd jobs. Like I said, he didn't finish his basic elementary or high school career, like degree or anything like that. I'm pretty sure he dropped out of elementary school to start working, and and then you kind of see where I'm at right now. My mom, she was the first person in her family to earn a college degree. Well, I guess my uncle technically was, but they're first generation college graduates. Same with my dad on his side, and then me being a second generation, just like how from meager circumstances, a couple generations to go to like where I'm at right now, and I'm hoping to make and become something even much greater than that, building a legacy, which I will get into. But it's crazy. If I had 100 more hours of content, whether it be pictures, video, voice messages, whatever, like that's priceless. I would pay millions of dollars for that just because it's impossible to have. It's priceless. You can't put a price on that. So don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for the fame. Don't do it for the money. At least do it for your future generations. Because think about the same thing. Like, how many times do you hear those stories of like someone's grandpa or someone's dad, and it's like only until the time that they're about to die, it's when they actually start spending a lot of time with them, they start to get to know their grandpa or their grandparents or whatever, their older relative, and it's typically at a time where they're not good health wise, and then mentally they could not totally be there as well. So you miss a lot. You don't really get to see a lot of their prime, and obviously my generation will have a lot of videos and stuff. We document ourselves a lot more, but thinking of my kids and my kids' kids and my kids' kids, and even generations I won't be able to see, all of the stuff they'll be able to see. Like, yeah, it might be so kind of embarrassing. Why is my great great grandpa like doing all this stuff? Who knows? Maybe one day I'll be famous and they'll be like, oh wow, it's awesome that he did all that stuff, put himself out there and stuff. But nonetheless, I that's a main reason, probably the top reason I do it as well. It's for future generations to be able to see what my quirks are, what I was like, what I liked, what I disliked, what my opinions were, what I thought about stuff, and also I hope they can see that the kind of the second reason why I'm doing this as well, not just family, future generations, but it's for a purpose, like spreading a message. That's why I have guys. I'm a big proponent of guys like Patrick Bet David and even though controversial, Top G, Andrew Tate, and all these other men's improvement, self improvement guys, because they're spreading a message, a positive message. Now, obviously, there's a lot of underlying things that people might not necessarily agree with, but the overall message is male self improvement, improve your life, and if you improve your life, you can help impact and improve the lives of others. So that's what I try to do through this content: is not only better my life, but more importantly, help other guys like me, because I've been in similar situations like that. I've been 18 years old. I don't know. 18 years old. I don't know what to do with my life. 16 years old. I don't know how to talk to girls. I don't know how to socialize. 21 years old. I don't have any money. How do I get out of debt? Like, what do I do with my life? Type of a thing. And all those decisions you get advice from people that are older, more seasoned, more experienced, and then you kind of make an educated decision for yourself, and you can basically change the trajectory of your life, basically on based on what you want to do in life, what your dreams are, what you want to aspire to be. So that I really wanted to hit home just because that kind of sets the tone for everything, the foundation. So one, like I said, future generations, so they have content of you because that is ultimately priceless. Then number two, for a purpose. You want to spread a message, and obviously a positive message. And unfortunately, there's people on social media. Like for example, I was scrolling through social media, and there's this one social media page. I actually am not going to mention them because I actually know a lot of my close friends, or not necessarily close friends, but some friends, some family that actually follow that page, and do not agree with them a single percent at all with the content that they push out, and it's mainly trying to be like triggery content. I can tell, kind of like making fun of certain stuff that I don't really think is very funny and should be made fun of, and they just come from a negative mindset, so spreading negativity, and people say it's like, oh, it's like bringing to light all the stuff that needs to be changed, and yeah, I guess I can agree to that somewhat. So maybe there's a single percent that I somewhat agree with what they do, but other than that, like 99%, totally not agree with. But it's just very much depressing, negative. It doesn't really spread positivity. Doesn't really act or push for change in any positive way. It's just like, all right, this is the stuff that's happening. This is why it's bad, and this is why we need to blame these people for it. So I'm not a fan of content like that because it's not a positive message. It doesn't help people build up their life and become inspirational and better their life. It's just kind of sulking, and I'm not a fan of that. Same with like black pill guys and that do that. It's like, oh, woe is me, and there's no hope in life and stuff like that. It's like, I think that stuff's pointless. So purpose is the kind of the second one, and I really suggest everyone watch this Patrick Bet-David video if you are any shred of you is interested in someone making content, and hopefully, like I said with this video, why you should too. I'm listening off many reasons, and if any of this stuff resonates with me, let me know in the comments, of course. But watch this video I'll put in the description that I showed you today as well, and you can get some ideas. And if you have any questions, like I said, put in the comments, or you can shoot me a DM or whatever. So he goes on to talk more about like content creation, like stuff to focus on. So there's actually this really cool diagram that he uses. Let me pull it up real quick. Kind of like he talks about 3 different reasons why people create content, and I kind of nailed kind of the first couple ones. But he has it kind of on a very nice looking visual. So it's right here. So first one, kind of very surface level. If you think of it from the top, it's fun. So surface level, people create content for fun. So funny videos, memes, all that stuff. And he talks about the story where his son, they're at some zoo or aquarium or something, and his son like hates getting wet, and he got wet, and literally what his son would do at home would be take off all his clothes because he hates being wet. So they're out in public, and he's like, no way he's gonna do that. His son literally proceeds to take off like all of his clothes and just like walking around, and it crazy, and they're talking about the stuff. So that's kind of like a level of fun that he was talking about, like good memories, stuff that's lighthearted. And then kind of lower down, still surface level, is fame and money. So I mentioned that when most people think of why people create content, that's the reason. And I wouldn't say that's the noblest of reasons. I think that's a valid reason to create content, but I think at the very top level should be the purpose and for the future generations type of a thing. But fame and money, like if you want to become famous, do content creation. That's why movie stars are famous. That's why Instagrammers, influencers are famous. That's why Andrew Tate's famous, because he was on all this social media and he was creating content, pushing out content. And money, you can make a lot of money nowadays. Today's currency is not necessarily money wise, it's eyeballs, it's attention. So that's why these media platforms are paying millions and billions of dollars to creators and influencers, because they have what all companies want. They want eyeballs. They want advertising eyeballs. So that's why I'm a big proponent. If you're going to build some sort of business, Ryan Pineda says this all the time, but you should be in social media and creating content, because why spend money on advertising when you could even just build the audience yourself, and not only build a niche audience that specifically trusts you and likes you and is aligned with what you're talking about or the message that you are portraying. But you can kind of give a captive audience and people that really believe in your product and what you do because they watch hours and hours of your content, that when you do offer something to sell, whether it be your business or a product or whatever, and I recommend that you do your own products rather than push products that aren't your own, just because it's a little bit more genuine if it's your own company and your own products, then people are going to buy it and you can make a lot of money off of it. So I'm not oblivious in thinking that, oh, you should not create content for fame and money and that stuff. Like, no, that is definitely a valid reason for sure. So, fame and money. All right, now the deeper level. This is the level I'm talking about when it comes to legacy, or it says legacy, but future generations and purpose. You ultimately you want to build a legacy, and in order for a legacy to exist, there has to be some sort of documentation. So, I've said this in many of my lives before, but Rich Cooper always says this. It's like live a captivating and interesting life and just document along the way. As simple as that. So if you live a impactful, fulfilling, interesting life and you document along the way, naturally people are going to follow you. That's just how it is. People are attracted to people that are interesting and positive and spreading a good message. So building that legacy, whether it be a legacy in the form of like a business that you pass on to future generations, or like I said, just simple content of you sharing your own experiences. People might carry around and write in a journal. I know I used to do that. Sorry, Mom, if you're watching this, I don't do it as much anymore. I would more so say this is kind of my journaling nowadays, talking about my life and certain different topics, my opinions on stuff, and different experiences that I've had in the past, because I think those experiences are relatable to a lot of young men out there, a lot of other people that might be even close to my age, college age, and even people that might be a little bit older as well. But it's relatable and it's interesting. So whether it be my family, my future generations, or just random people out there watching this, I want to leave some sort of legacy, build something that's outside of myself. And you can do that through creating content. So that's like kind of the core basis of what I wanted to touch. Now I had a couple other points that I wanted to add as well, being a couple other reasons to create content, why I create content and why you should too. And it's all the same. So like why I create content is exactly why you should create content too. But creating a personal brand, that is very important. If you want to just be kind of an average person, nothing wrong with working a job. I mean, I work a job right now. I'm going to go work a new job when I move to Austin, and I'm probably going to work a job for a while for someone else. But you need to create some sort of personal brand, and you can easily do that through content creation. So that's an easy way to set yourself apart. I know lots of people, especially nowadays, being able to speak is very important. Being able to present yourself, not only in interviews, but on a presentation stage. Present yourself and your ideas in a very concise and professional manner is very important. So, I mean, you look at me, probably some of my earlier lives and some of my earlier content I was producing, I was creating. My speech probably wasn't as good. Of course, I'm trying to improve every single day. I'm a lot more conscious about certain words I say. I try to not have as many filler words. If you ever go to church, or at least my church, and people are talking and bearing their testimony and stuff, it's really interesting to hear people when they public speak. They'll say a lot, or they'll have a ton of these filler words, and if you really focus on it, it gets really annoying. So, and to be fair, I use a lot of filler words still as well. It might not be in the terms of or I use so a lot. You probably noticed that. And I also use and. So I said so as well. So and I said so again. I will use a lot of and, so I will create a lot of run-on sentences. And it will be a continuous thought rather than thought, end, and maybe another thought leading to another thought type of thing. But it's really important. I use but a lot as well. Creating a personal brand, it's really important, and even me doing this, if I were to do a Zoom interview, I'm a lot more comfortable just because I'm used to talking on camera. Creating a personal brand is necessary not only in business but in as we move on in this digital age. It's going to be very important. So this will kind of segue into my next point: digital footprint. Digital footprint is super important. You don't want to be that person that doesn't have any digital footprint at all. I talked about this when I talk about social media, and the people that are like, I do not want to do social media and I will never do social media. At a certain point, you'll need to do social media. It's like the people saying, I never want to create a resume. I never want to drive a car. I mean, that's kind of a far-fetched extreme example, but I'm trying to think something else. I never want to watch the news, say like 10, 20 years ago. I never want to watch cable TV. It sounds kind of ridiculous. So not participating in social media, not having a digital footprint of some sort is going to be really weird. So if you're looking for a job, LinkedIn is going to be the new resume, and social media will be the new terms of social acceptance for many people, and of course communication. I will even see text messaging. You see these in countries nowadays. You think of South America, everyone uses WhatsApp. Everyone uses an app. It's a social media app that Facebook owns. And even around the world, a lot of people use Messenger. In Japan, people use Line. In China, people use WeChat. We're eventually going to get to the point where we're not going to really use these Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, Mint Mobile, all these different phone services for texting and calling people very much. We're going to start using more social media apps. So that's another reason why it's important to have those as well, because it's going to be the primary source and form of communication. I'm a big proponent of also being a producer, not a consumer. A lot of people have social media. A lot of people consume so much content. If you just look at anyone's settings on their phone and you go to the usage, granted, I have a lot of usage as well. I will say I probably spend time on social media a little bit way too much than I should be, but I am doing it because I'm creating content. I'm not just consuming content. Granted, I still consume a lot of content, but it's for me to consume content to come up with ideas to create more content. What's up, Rick Carr? What's up? So be a producer, not a consumer. And nowadays, most people are consumers. You think of the countless accounts, granted, a lot of them are probably bots, but that have an avatar of some. You don't even look like a real person. You literally look like a bot. You follow 5,000 people and you have 200 followers. And to most people, especially when you kind of go into the dating scene, if you're single, it looks kind of weird if you're following 5,000 people and you only have like 200 people follow you or 50 people following you. So be a producer, not a consumer. All right. And this also, creating content also shows you receipts of your accomplishments. So like I said with my statement that Rich Cooper coins all the time is live an interesting, captivating life, being impactful for other people, and just document along the way. It's literally receipts of stuff you've accomplished in life. So if you are a successful lawyer, if you are a successful accountant, or you're a successful doctor, then you can, or a successful philanthropist, you can post content and to be proof and evidence that you are an expert in your field. So you can receipts of your accomplishments. And even for, say, you're a stay-at-home mom, or you're a family man, or just like a husband or whatever, you can post stuff of your family and how important your family is, and that shows receipts of your accomplishments of creating a great family. Now, of course, you have to think of social media and content. You don't want to push it too far. There's a lot of these families that will do these YouTube families and TikTok families. I'm not necessarily in favor of that. I mean, they can do whatever they want. They actually make crazy money. One of my friends, he's married to a girl that their family's like that, and they rake in. I'll tell you that. But that's besides the point. But it's receipts of your accomplishments. You have a happy family, you want to post about it, and you want to share it and help other people have happy families as well. What's wrong with that? That's inspiring. Now, last point. If there's anyone on a Q&A, like I reminded everyone, Q&A, probably in the next 5 minutes or so, I will drop the link in the YouTube. Actually, let me just go ahead and drop the link in there already. So give me a second. Shout out to Ricard16. Thanks for the comments. Love your content, brother. Keep it up. I appreciate it. I definitely will. If y'all keep coming supporting me, I definitely will. Even if you don't support me, I'll still keep doing it. Just because I actually really enjoy doing this. So I dropped the link in my YouTube chat. So for any of you that want to join Q&A, please join. And I will make sure I will keep a monitor of that. So how do I start? If you're interested in anything that I said, if it resembles you, or if you're really it piqued your interest of any sort, or you watched the video I posted in the description about Patrick Bet David and creating content and all that, how do I start? Now, the easiest way to start, one, you kind of have to find out what you're interested in, what you're passionate in, what you want to share, what you want to create content about, whether it be just about journaling for yourself and for your future generations, just stories about yourself or how your day went type of a thing. You can do vlogs. That's an easy way. That's how a lot of people get started. It's how my one friend, One Chai Chap, go follow him. He started doing vlogs, and he's kind of documented his life just because he has a pretty interesting life. He got married and served in Japan and went to BYU and all that stuff. He's a dad now. He has a kid, and he's documenting his life in a wrong way. And then a big passion of his is tech as well. So he's adding the vlog tech kind of niche into his YouTube videos and his content. So find out what kind of content you like. What do you like sharing? If you're a big sports guy, then maybe do like a sports podcast or talk about sports or talk about your favorite team. One of my friends, he's insane about anything like Oregon, Portland sports, whether it be the Oregon Ducks or Portland Trailblazers or the Portland Timbers or whatever. And I'm like, dude, you should start like a sports thing about that stuff, or whatever sports thing that you want to talk about, just because you're so passionate about it. And you spend all of this time watching the sports itself, going to the games, knowing all the players, looking up all the stats. I'm like, why don't you just create content about it? It might take a little bit extra time, but it could potentially turn into something that you could possibly do full time. Just an idea for you. So find out what kind of content that you want to create, and then the easiest way to start, like I said, most people have an Instagram, most people have a Facebook. Just simply post a story. I think that's the easiest way. That way you don't have to be like, oh, I don't want to do a post, or like, story will disappear in 24 hours. So even if it's you post it and you're like, oh, that was such a crappy like story I put out, I feel so embarrassed. It's gonna be gone in 24 hours, so you don't have to worry about it. Post, I mean, you can still archive it and stuff, but you have to physically do that. It's not gonna disappear unless you purposely hide it or archive it. So simply post a story. And that's kind of where I started off. And then I started creating content, and then YouTube, or I did short content, short format content, reels, YouTube shorts, post on Facebook. And then I started doing content format. For those of you, the OGs, that knew me when I did Nico Nightly, which, like I said, that's a potential in the future. Not in the near future though, in the long term future. Might start again. That was kind of my journey and start into content creation, which I actually really enjoyed it, but it was a lot of work, and I know so much more knowledge nowadays than before. And it's a lot easier just doing these single things by myself rather than inviting a guest. But in the future, look out for that. All right, so that's the end of my topic tonight, and it looks like there's not anyone that wants to join the chat, but I appreciate everyone that's watching and look forward to the future lives as well. I do have a couple. I'm starting to gain a lot of different ideas for lives. So I have a couple planned in advance. So I'm trying to stream every Tuesday, Thursday. I will be heading to Austin the last week of July. So there's a possibility I might not do on Thursday the 27th, but I hopefully will. And once I kind of reach Texas and get there, since I won't be working, I might have something interesting for you guys. So look out for that, like first week of August or so. But my couple next upcoming YouTube live ideas to next Tuesday, never use the excuse of being too busy ever again. Just because I hate that excuse. I hate people that use that. I am one of the most busy people. And I don't do that to flex or brag. I just am very productive and I like to be productive. And I hate it when people say, "Oh, sorry, I don't have time for that." Anyway, and then so next week, next Thursday, I think I want to talk about testosterone TRT. Now, it's kind of a big topic in the fitness industry right now, and you guys making memes and joking about like tren and testosterone TRT, and oh, you need to take some tests, bro. Like you're gonna gain so much mass, you're gonna get huge, you're gonna get so much stronger, which is true, but there's a danger to it, and who knows? I actually might invite a guest on that has knowledge of the medical industry, so look out for that. But as for everything, trying to help you guys get stronger, smarter, healthier, and definitely wealthier. So go ahead, follow for more lives, follow for more tips, and I will catch y'all later. Peace.